Arrogant alien kept poking the human, so he bit her to show his dominance. The silence on Orphean 9 did not last long, but the effects of it did. Vathira was escorted to the medical wing, her wounded arm sealed in a temporary brace. She walked without assistance, her pride hurt more than her body, yet her thoughts were in chaos. The bite replayed again and again in her mind. Not wild, not desperate, controlled, measured, intentional, that was what disturbed her most. Marcus Hale was taken to a holding room nearby, not a cell, just a quiet space with transparent walls. Station security did not know what to do with him. By law, physical harm during diplomatic contact was forbidden. By tradition, however, Krelith dominance testing was also well known and often ignored. The situation balanced on a thin edge. Marcus sat on a bench, his hands resting on his knees. His heart had slowed, but the aftershock remained. He knew what he had done would have consequences. He also knew he would do it again if pushed the same way. Humans were taught to respect boundaries, but also to defend them when ignored. Outside the room, a group of observers gathered. Merchants, envoys, station officials. News spread fast on a station like Orphean 9. A human had injured a Krelith with his teeth. That single sentence broke several assumptions at once. Vathira entered the chamber shortly after, accompanied by a senior Krelith commander and 2 station mediators. Her arm was bandaged, but her posture was straight. When she saw Marcus, she stopped. The commander spoke first. "Explain your action." Marcus stood. "I asked her to stop. She continued. I responded." "That response was excessive," one mediator said carefully. Vathira lifted her uninjured hand. "No," she said, all eyes turned to her. "It was appropriate." Murmurs rippled through the chamber. She stepped closer to Marcus, stopping a safe distance away this time. "Among my people," she said, "dominance is proven by forcing reaction." "I forced yours." "And you found it," Marcus replied. "Yes," she said slowly, "and I misjudged what I was testing." The commander looked between them. "You were bitten by a species we believed physically inferior." Vathira's eyes narrowed. "Belief is not fact." She turned to the mediators. "The human did not attack without cause. He endured longer than most would. When he acted decisively and stopped once the point was made. That is not weakness." Silence followed. This was not how such incidents usually ended. Station law required review, so Marcus was temporarily confined to quarters. But he was not charged. Instead, inquiries began. Medical data was requested. Human physiology reports were reopened. Old files from Earth were examined with new eyes. What they found unsettled many. Humans had evolved on a planet where nearly everything could kill them. Not through claws alone, but through weather, disease, gravity, competition. Instead of growing armor or weapons, humans had grown endurance, adaptability, coordination, and restraint, because constant aggression would have destroyed them long ago. The bite became a symbol, not of savagery, but of last resort response. Within days, representatives from multiple species requested meetings with the human delegation. Not Marcus alone, but humanity as a whole. Questions were asked, careful ones. "How many of you can do this?" "All of us," was the answer. "Why do you not?" "Because most of the time we don't need to." That answer spread faster than any report. Vathira requested a private audience with Marcus before departing the station. They met in a quiet observation corridor, stars drifting slowly beyond the transparent wall. "In my culture," she said, "to yield dominance is rare. To do so to a smaller species is unheard of." Marcus said nothing, letting her speak. "I will record this encounter truthfully," she continued. "Not as an assault, but as a correction, mine." Marcus nodded. "We don't want dominance," he said. "We want boundaries." Vathira studied him. "Your kind hides its strength behind calm faces." "We learned that calm keeps us alive," Marcus replied. She gave a short, respectful bow, the first Marcus had ever seen from a Krelith. When she left, the record went with her. Across the network, human classification changed. Not dramatically, not loudly, just a quiet update in threat assessment and diplomatic notes. Humans, high restraint species, physical capability underestimated, provocation not advised. On Orphean 9, behavior shifted. Touching without consent stopped. Jokes about soft humans faded. Security drones logged fewer tests. Humans still walked calmly through corridors, still spoke politely, still avoided conflict when possible. But now others watched them differently. Marcus returned to duty weeks later. No medals, no punishment. just a subtle nod from his superiors and a new awareness around him. He had not meant to make a statement. He had only defended himself. Yet sometimes that was enough. One evening, as he passed through the same concourse, a young alien paused, clearly curious. "Is it true," it asked, "that humans can choose when to be dangerous?" Marcus considered the question. "We choose when not to be," he said. "There's a difference." The alien nodded, thoughtful, and stepped aside to give him space. As Marcus walked on, the station lights reflected off metal walls and distant stars. Humanity had not shouted, had not threatened, had not demanded respect. The galaxy adjusted, but not without resistance. Not every species accepted the new understanding of humanity. Some dismissed the incidents as rare events. Others believed humans were bluffing, hiding behind stories to inflate their importance. Among those skeptics was the Jacker Collective, an old power that believed fear was the only language worth speaking. The Jacker did not test boundaries with pokes or insults. They tested with force. A human research outpost on the edge of explored space went silent one cycle. No distress call, no warning, just quiet. When probes were sent, they found the station intact but empty, no bodies. No damage. The message was clear. The Jacker wanted to see how patient humans really were. Human leadership did not respond publicly. No threats were issued. No fleets were mobilized in dramatic displays. Instead, information flowed quietly. Ships moved without announcement. Allies were informed with calm clarity, not panic. Marcus Hale was older now, his hair marked with gray, his posture still steady. He sat in a briefing room with others like him, people who understood restraint not as weakness, but as discipline. "They've crossed the line," someone said. Marcus nodded. "Yes. Does that mean?" "It means patience has done its job," Marcus said. "Now action has a purpose." The human response was not a war, it was a correction. Human ships entered Jacker-controlled space without fanfare. They did not attack planets. They did not target civilians. Instead, they disabled military infrastructure with precision that stunned observers. Communication relays went dark. Command ships found their systems overridden. Supply chains collapsed without a single explosion. The Jacker fought back with brute force. It failed. They had built their power on fear and overwhelming pressure. Humans had built theirs on planning, coordination, and the ability to endure long enough to understand their enemy fully. When Jacker fleets engaged human vessels, they found their attacks anticipated. When they tried to retreat, escape routes were already sealed. Humans did not chase. They waited. Every engagement ended the same way. Human ships stopped firing once resistance ceased. Captured Jacker officers were treated according to interstellar law. Fed, healed, questioned calmly. That calm frightened them more than violence ever had. "How can you do this without hatred?" one Jacker commander demanded during detention. Marcus, present as an advisor, answered simply, "Because hatred makes mistakes." The missing outpost crews were recovered alive from a hidden Jacker facility. They were shaken but unharmed. The Jacker had planned to use them as leverage. They never got the chance. When the collective finally requested talks, it was not framed as surrender. It was framed as reassessment. Humans accepted without celebration. The meeting took place in neutral space. No weapons, no displays, just words. "You could have destroyed us," the Jacker representative said. "Yes," the human envoy replied. "Why didn't you?" "Because destruction teaches nothing," the envoy said. "Understanding does." The terms were firm but fair. The outpost would be rebuilt, borders respected. Aggression would stop, not because humans demanded obedience, but because the cost of ignoring boundaries had been made unmistakably clear. Across the galaxy, the lesson settled deep. Humans were not rising rulers, they were stabilizers. Trade routes grew safer. Smaller species sought human mediation in conflicts that had lasted generations. Humans did not impose solutions, they listened, they waited. Then they acted only when necessary. Marcus retired soon after. He returned to Earth for good this time, settling near a quiet coastline where waves moved with patient rhythm. He walked every morning, feeling the pull of gravity, the resistance of wind, the reminder of the world that shaped his kind. Sometimes he received messages from off-world, reports, thanks, questions. He answered when he could. One evening he sat watching the sunset when a message arrived from Vathira. "The Krellith have rewritten our teachings," it read. "Dominance is no longer defined by force alone. Your people changed that." Marcus smiled faintly and closed the message. Human children would grow up unaware of how close their species had come to being misunderstood beyond repair. They would argue, fall, get back up, learn patience, learn limits. They would not think of themselves as dangerous. That was the point. Out among the stars, humanity was now described in a single quiet phrase shared between diplomats and commanders alike. They are kind until they must be firm. And everyone understood what that meant. The galaxy did not fear humans, it trusted them.